Guys, SSRIs save lives. So RFK and his colleagues are currently throwing a lot of shade at the SSRI class of medications. And I absolutely cringe thinking about the number of teen suicides that these medications have prevented, and limiting them, which the current administration is hinting at, is terrifying. So in my practice, which is in a relatively affluent area, it's hard to be a teenager. We expect a lot of our kids. And clearly, if you aren't shaped like a Barbie doll and you haven't been admitted to Harvard by the time you're, say, 12, there must be something wrong with you. That's stressful. At least a third of my patients struggle with issues like anxiety, depression, panic attacks, suicidal ideation, and teen suicide is increasingly more common. Of course, I recommend a healthy diet, exercise, I've actually written prescriptions for that, a good sleep regimen, and counseling. But for those kids who are paralyzed by panic or anxiety attacks more than a couple times a week, or who have thoughts of self-harm or suicide, I absolutely recommend the SSRIs, or the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So fluoxetine, sertraline, escitalopram, etc. Side effect profile is super safe. There is a black box warning on those medications that says if you're a suicidal teenager, that first 2 weeks of treatment, you may have more thoughts about suicide. And the thinking is that when you first start treatment, you're so low, you just don't have the energy to do anything about it. But as you start to come up, you start thinking about it maybe a little bit more. There's no more reports of increased successful suicides. And then once you're 2 weeks in, you actually start to feel pretty good and those thoughts tend to go away. So let's talk about why you're anxious, depressed, the pathophysiology of that, and why SSRIs work. So the way your brain works when it's stressed, when your brain cells want to talk to each other, they send up an electrical signal. In order to talk to the next brain cell, you're going to release a neurotransmitter. Serotonin in particular is the one we're talking about today, which gives you a sense of well-being. So that initiates an electrical signal in that second brain cell, and then that first brain cell takes it back and uses it over again. Now, if you're stressed and you're firing all the time, I'm not as pretty as she is, I didn't get an A in this class, so-and-so said something kind of rude, you're firing all the time, stressed out, and those serotonin levels tend to lower. The way the SSRIs work is they slow down that reuptake mechanism so that over millions of receptors and some time, your serotonin levels will go back up to where they need to be. These are life-saving medications. Today's world, there's a lot of legit reasons to be anxious or depressed. SSRIs save lives. I'm Dr. Deb. I've seen it all. Tell me what you think.